Have you ever felt buried in busy work, second guessing what to hand off, or wondering why growth still feels so darn heavy? Then this podcast is for you. Welcome to Delegate to Elevate, Get Done, where real conversations help you lead smarter, delegate better, and take more off your plate. Here's your host, me, Bonnie Schutz. Welcome back to Delegate to Elevate, Get Done, where we talk real life, real leadership, and real delegation with a little less fluff and a lot more truth. Today, my guest is Stephanie Judd. She is a keynote speaker and leadership communication expert who helps leaders land messages that move people to act. As co-founder and managing partner of Wolf and Heron, she blends social psychology, influence, science, and behavior change to design conversations that inspire clarity, connection, and buy-in from her clients include household names like Google, Meta, Discover, and Pfizer. She is certified as a coactive coach by the Coaches Training Institute and is a member of the Forbes Coaches Council. She is also a mom to 2 young kids who keep her learning every day. I'm sorry, I added that in. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Well, that's a great introduction, but I'd love you to expand on that a little bit. If you tell us like where you've come from, how you got to having your own business and doing that thing, and how that mom thing's going. Tell us all about you.
Tell me your life story.
Tell me your life story in about a minute. Okay.
I know, right? I spent the first 10 years of my career jumping around doing all kinds of things. I landed in business school finally, where I was like, okay, I have a path. And so after business school is when I went to change management consulting. And the reason for that is because in my business school program, I did a 3-year program, 2 degrees, and I had 2 summer internships. And both summer internships, I'm at this like fancy business school. They're like, make sure you follow up with your internship supervisors because you want to be talking about results of your work on your resume so that you can get that fancy job when you graduate. So it's like, okay, fine. So I call up both of my supervisors from these internships, and both of them said something along the lines of, "Oh yes, I remember your presentation. It was really, really good. It had these really good insights, and you made an amazing business case." And so I'm like, "Great. What's the impact now? A year or 2 years later?" "Oh yeah, well, you know how it is. Change is hard." So I was like, all right, if I'm going to do anything in this world, I got to learn how to change. I got to learn how to change people. I got to learn how to implement change. And so hence the change management consulting.
Nice.
While I'm in change management consulting, I am coaching and consulting to leaders who are driving change in their organization. And everything that I did with these C-suite executives, I was thinking to myself as, a young, or I guess I was old, late 20s, early 30s. Right?
Young.
Yeah, as a young upstart, right? I'm thinking to myself, every skill that they have, I want. And I don't want to use those skills to influence down into the organization. I want to use those skills to influence up the chain of command to my leaders, right? And so I started paying attention to what is it what are they doing, and what am I coaching them to do, and how can this apply to kind of the early and mid-career folks instead?
Yeah.
I left that firm after a couple of years because I wanted to move to Colorado. It was calling. It was time. I had to come to Colorado. So I left the firm mostly for, sunshine.
Sure.
And then I was sort of in Colorado with no job, thinking to myself, well, maybe this is the moment. And that's when I actually got certified as a coach, with the hope that I was going to then go and do all this stuff that I knew about how to change people, both at the organizational level and at the individual level, and go be a coach. Turns out coaching ain't so fun. I'm actually much better at teaching.
Okay.
Which is what then inspired me to go in with a partner, and we launched Wolf and Heron. And our first program that we launched with was influential storytelling.
Okay.
Because, well, storytelling is like the number one skill to influence and affect change. And it's been our cornerstone product for the last 10 years. Most of our revenue comes from delivering our influential storytelling program. It's evolved a lot since that first year.
Sure.
But it's the core of what we do. And I think what's interesting about the influential storytelling program and why we love what we do is that we position it very much around how do you tell a story in order to affect change, in order to affect action, in order to actually influence. So it's not just a story for story's sake or story for entertainment or even stories for teaching.
Sure.
It's stories to drive action. And that is different.
Yeah.
And so
stories to build your business. Yeah. To brand yourself, to get recognized and have a little bit of a branding behind that builds that business and attracts, right? Okay. Nice. Well, I am a storyteller all the time. So I guess I'm going in the right direction. I love that. So in between storytelling and things like that, would I guess because of what I said already, that storytelling can be something that you not coach, teach business owners to do as well.
Yeah. I mean, we work, it's interesting after all of this, right? Most of our clients are big corporate organizations.
Okay.
Where what we're doing is training that mid-level management folks, which is exactly the who I was, back in my 20s, and feeling the frustration, being like, and so a lot of the times I'm working with product managers or data scientists who are trying to convince executives, and I hate the word convince, inspire executives or philanthropists or grant organizers to give resources, et cetera, to their cause.
Okay.
We work with small businesses as well. That tends to be in more of a coaching relationship than in the big one-to-many training arrangements that we have. But yeah, I mean, and
that's
that
your favorite, but
the coaching I love. That kind of coaching I love.
Okay,
It's the let me hold you, like the therapy side of coaching that I'm not as centered for. That's a much better fit for my partner. So she handles that component of the business. I will sit and critique your story all day long.
Nice. Do you have any books or anything that you've written or publications?
Oh, what a great idea. I have
a novel thought.
I know, right? I have this manuscript that I wrote for a book, I don't know, 4 years ago that I've been sitting on. It's one of the things that if I could learn to delegate better, I might actually get around to.
And that's a great little segue for me. So you do a lot of speaking on leadership communication. And as I mentioned before we hit the record button today, we have the 7 C's of delegation, of successful delegation, I might add. And the first 2 are clarity and communication. And so where I've seen many things falter is in lack of clarity within communications. Have you experienced that? Is that tough to teach people, especially in today's AI age where you have to communicate so clearly into like an AI platform?
It's interesting. I just gave a talk, a Disrupt HR talk, where I spoke exactly on this topic.
Oh, okay.
For the first 8 years of my business, all of the communication training that I did was to help folks find clarity, know what it is that they wanted to say, identify what they needed to say, and get really clear on how to phrase it and the words that they wanted to say, like words they want to deliver. What's been interesting in the age of AI is that a lot of folks now actually can go to a chat bot and find that clarity through iteration and conversation.
Yeah.
Because ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, these tools are really good at feeding back to you what you just said, but in a much tighter, cleaner way, right? And so folks are actually able to find clarity through a little bit of that iteration and that mechanism.
Yeah.
And what is falling apart now, interestingly, is how you say it.
Ooh.
And so Esther Perel talks about this. She's a couples counselor out of New York City. She talks about how relationship friction is something that we are losing the capacity to handle because of the increased frictionlessness of the world and the technology, instant gratification, everything. So every time you're relationship with someone who's like a messy human. It's just, it's hard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Haidt is talking about this in the context of technology and what it's doing to the brains of young people. And young people are not developing social relationships the way that they used to. And the consequences that we don't actually know how to be human with each other anymore.
Yeah.
And so my work has shifted a lot from what you say and being clear on what you say to how you say it. How do you deliver it with charisma? How do you deliver it with poise?
Ooh.
How do you use your body? How do you use your face? And then how do you hold space for other people in conversations? How do you make sure that you're not just reactive but responsive?
Yeah.
So that's how the business has been shifting, interestingly.
Wow.
But to your point, if we come back around to delegation, right? I do think what is really hard, even in my own business, what's really hard about delegating is that I think I have an idea of what I want, but it's really hard to be clean and clear about it and offload that to someone else.
Yep.
And as I'm trying to build these AI agents and these little automated workflows and stuff, I'm finding that at least it asks me like, well, which file do you want me to put it in? And which file should be the resource or the template? And which file? And I'm like, oh, right. I don't actually have any of those assets and I have to go build them. But if I was going to delegate it to a human, I would have to build those assets anyway. Yeah. Because that would be clear communication.
Yes. As it should be. Yes.
As it should be.
Boy, I mean, like, automation is a delegation, technically. It's one of the 10.
For sure.
Yeah. And I consider it in this world, in my world here, that it is, you're delegating to automation and delegating to AI and all these things. It's not a full-on delegation always, because there is a little humanness needed, in my humble opinion.
As there would be with another human too, right? Yeah. Like there's always checkpoints. But
I love you used a couple of adjectives. Now I'm like, they're escaping me, but you're like, with the way you feed it information about not just the generic terms of clarity and this and that. You said a couple words that helped me out here. Maybe that struck my head and I forgot. But you said a couple words that I didn't think of, that like how to communicate this to the AI with a little more. What was the adjectives you used? Do you remember?
Well, I don't remember what I said.
That's okay. We both lost it. It's Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I find when I'm trying to automate a workflow, right, it will prompt me with questions that are clarifying questions that in some ways I don't know that a human would prompt me with, because a human doesn't necessarily have the rigor of true process the way that an AI workflow does. And so things like, which folder should I put it in? And what do you want the columns of the sheet to be?
Right? Think of it all at once, where maybe a human might trickle it down to you on a Tuesday and then on a Friday.
That's right. I know. It's fascinating. Well, and the other thing that has been fun is I've been working with Claude Cowork like just this week. I've been experimenting. And one of the things that it asked me was like, well, do you want to give me the column headlines or should I come up with them? And I was like, great, you come up with them.
That's exactly what I do. Like, you do it.
Right? And I was listening to a podcast a while ago where someone was explaining, think of AI not as artificial intelligence, but as awesome intern. And I was like, that is what it is. And if you think about it as an awesome intern,
then the golden nugget on this show is awesome intern instead of AI. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like the rigor with which you would communicate is about the same. Right? Like you have an awesome intern, very smart, very capable, but you still have to be prescriptive about what it is that you want them to do. Where do you want things to go? How's it going to go? You have to hand most of the process to them and let the intern kind of come back to you with intelligence. And it's great. Yeah. Right?
With a little intuitiveness and a little curiosity and maybe the things that our awesome intern doesn't have. The real intern would come back with.
I had this training moment. I was 22, first job out of undergrad, 22 years old. And of course you're given the scud work. And I had to track, because it was a computer science major. And so I had to track tickets and progress on how many tickets had been completed. And every week my boss wanted some kind of update. And after 3 or 4 weeks of this, he sat me down and was like, Stephanie, you need to build a dashboard. Right? And me being the 22-year-old idiot that I was, I was like, oh, a dashboard would be such a good idea.
So cool.
And then I'm thinking to myself now in my, mid-career, I'm
Yeah.
like, the awesome intern is exactly the 22-year-old who's like, should I build a dashboard?
Oh,
And
you're
I'm like,
absolutely
yes.
right. They are. That's funny.
So
I'm never gonna forget that. That's very cool. I like that. That's fun, and I'm all about fun. Make work fun. Again. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna pivot a little bit on you. So, when did you start your business? Like, how many years ago from today? How long have you been doing this thing?
um in April it will be 10 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay, about the same
Oh
pace
my
as
God,
I've
it is
been.
April. So
Is it?
it's 10 years.
Congratulations. A decade. That's wonderful.
But there's a little bit of nuance there because I left my role in April and
Okay.
went into this coaching thing, but I didn't
Yeah.
launch with my partner until January of 2017.
I get it.
So
Yep.
we are turning 10 this year, and
I
we'll
know,
be
I always go
officially
somewhere
10.
between 9 and 11 because I was side hustling for a little bit, and then, until do you count the day I left my
I know,
last
right?
job?
Right.
Like, I don't know when to start it, but that's wonderful. We'll just say a decade. So after a decade of doing this, during that time, has it just been you and your business partner, or have you delegated or outsourced to humans at this in this conversation,
Yes,
anything in your business?
yes and yes.
Okay.
So my partner Kara and I have been the only two full-time employees of the company ever
Mhm.
since we started, and we are, um, we love our partnership, and that's great.
Yes.
That said, there have been a million cases where we're like, we're not equipped to do this. In the beginning, it was, we hired like a Facebook ads person at one
Sure.
point. We hired a LinkedIn ads person. We
Mhm.
hired, of course, an SEO person for our
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
We hired a designer to help us come up with a look and feel for our brand the very first time. We've been through 3 brand rebrands in our business in 10 years. We've been
Wow.
through 3 rebrands. And each time we hired some kind of visually trained person
Sure.
who could help us with that. We now have and the thing is, like, all of this is in contract work or gig work or
Right.
project-based work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We now have a woman who helps us with sales and sales outreach and just getting a little bit more
Nice.
rigorous about our sales process, which has been really helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm dabbling with the idea of, should I hire some young upstart who's a little bit further ahead on the AI path to help me automate all
Right.
of my silly automatable scud work tasks.
Right.
And so it's like yes and to all of
Yeah.
it. Kara and I have been the bread and butter, the core of the business for
Mhm.
forever.
Yeah.
But we have a satellite network of folks that we work with.
Nice.
And what's been great about being 10 years in now is that some of these folks we've been with for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. And they know us. Like, we have this artist that we work with who does
Mhm.
all of our art for everything. And she's just amazing. She's amazing. And we can
Yeah.
send her half-baked ideas and she comes back with
She was
something
like,
that's
"What would
1,000
Stephanie do? What would Kara do?" Yeah.
and she knows our style and she knows
Nice.
our vibes. And she, we used to have to work with her to get some more diversity into the images. And
Sure.
now we never have to because it's been, she
Mm.
gets it.
Lovely.
And so, yes, there's a lot. I think what's been easy to delegate is the stuff that we know that we're not good at. Right?
Right.
Like, we have
Perfect.
a lawyer to help us come up with our master services agreement. We don't
Sure.
know.
I
So a
don't know how to
lawyer,
do
right?
that.
What's
Yeah.
been harder to delegate is the stuff that we can do and we can do well,
Yes,
but we
that's the
have
ticket.
to, yes. And then we're like, in order to scale, we now have to offload that stuff. And that's much harder for us to wrap our heads around.
So that's something you told me about too, is you are working to add a little more clarity into what you want to do going forward. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah. So in our business, actually, this has been a tension point in part
Oh.
because AI is becoming so big, and I know the potential of what it is.
Mhm.
And I want to launch more of a speaker career because I think it's great for, like, top of funnel for our business.
Right.
And I want to. There's all these products that we have right now. We're in this point at this 10-year mark where we have 1,000 things that we want to do
I
and
get
not
it.
nearly enough time.
Yeah.
I did a 3-week activities audit of myself. I
Mm.
sat and literally every 15 minutes, I logged on my calendar. What did I spend the last 15 minutes doing? What did I spend the last
Good
15
job.
minutes doing? And I did that for 3 weeks. And then I took all of the information and put it into a spreadsheet and was like, what am I doing with my time? Give me insight.
Where does the day go?
Yeah. Where does the day go? What do I do? And so what was interesting there was the things that are important are not being afforded the time that they need, and the things that are unimportant but urgent are.
Right.
Right? I'm like, why am I spending 45 minutes posting the newsletter and formatting it? Like, why am I spending 45 minutes doing that? Right?
Right.
And so that has been interesting. All in the course of this conversation is a conversation with Kara around, okay, we are now at the point where it's time for us to divide and conquer more intentionally. So it is, what is Stephanie going to do? What is Kara going to do? How are we going to actually have different roles as opposed to just both being managing partners of a firm, right?
Right.
You know, and so that's been interesting. And then on top of that, there's a conversation, I mean, just in my personal life, there's a conversation about like, in the context, especially if I'm going to go travel so much more for work, if I'm going to be speaking a lot more for work, then it's kind of like, what is the role of me as a mom, as a wife? How does that all fit together? And so I feel like I'm in this point in my life right now where I'm doing this massive overhaul of what is going to be the thing that I want to do. How do I focus? How do I narrow the scope so that I can go deeper? In all areas, like all different roles of my life that are important.
Yeah.
So it's I'm beginning this journey. We shall see. I was telling you before we hit record, I feel like this is probably going to be a 10-year journey for me.
Well, it took us 10 years to get to the point where we need to have some clarity around what we're supposed to be doing to move this thing forward. So we got another 10, right?
I know. I mean, one of the sound bites from my consulting firm that I worked at that I always really appreciated is, you know, what got you to where you are today is not going to get you to where you need to be tomorrow.
Ain't that the
so,
truth?
like, I know, right? Ain't that the truth? And what I really appreciated about that comment was that it's not an indictment of the past. It's not that you're doing it wrong. You did it exactly right to get here.
Yeah.
It's just that here is now where you will stay unless you can change. And so I think, you know, I think part of what I'm really wrestling with, part of what I'm really wrestling with right now is just who do I have to be and what do I have to shift and what are the systems around me that need to change?
And what works for me?
Yeah. What works for me?
What do I want? What makes me not have to be this stressed out entrepreneur and consultant, you know, running, especially if I've got children at home. Good Lord, I don't know. God bless you. I don't know how you do it.
Well, it's interesting. I literally had a conversation with my husband just a couple days ago about like, do you think it's time to start assigning chores to our kids?
Yes. When does that happen? Yes. How old are your kiddos?
They are 5 and 3.
Okay. Little ones. Okay. But start them young. That's what I say. Because I was bad. I did not do that. And yeah, well, that's a whole different Oprah with my grown child. Gotta love her.
I think, I mean, it's interesting just thinking about delegation and storytelling in the context of motherhood, right?
Yeah.
And particularly, how do I make my kids how do I inspire my kids to do specific things? And I do come back to story a lot.
Yeah.
I do come back to story a lot. The stories that I tell my kids are fantastical and, you know, magical and lies, frankly, lies.
Yeah, sure. Way embellished small truths.
Yeah, I mean, there's this poem that we read. Shel Silverstein wrote this poem about this monster that comes and eats all the toys that are left on the ground every night. He's the toy eating Tuchel, and my son is just captivated by this idea of the toy eating Tuchel, and he will clean up his playroom every day because he's worried that the toy Tuchel will come.
Maybe we need to like translate into that something into that we could sell, not sell, share with other business owners. The brain eating entrepreneurial mutt. I don't know what you call it.
Not a complete lie.
Right? Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I could go on because we were just clicking that way on a Friday afternoon while we record this. This is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Stephanie, where can everybody find you or get a hold of you?
Oh,
All the places.
I'm most active on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm Stephanie Judd. My company is Wolf and Heron. Our website
Mhm.
is wolfandheron.com. And that's like wolf, like the animal, the wolf,
And
and
heron like a bird.
heron like the bird with the letters and spelled out.
Nice.
A lot of people think, I mean, it's interesting because Kara and I come from an environmental background. We were both environmental
Okay.
scientists.
I was going to ask you how you came up with the name. Yeah.
So the animals kind of lent themselves, they spoke to us.
Nice.
But it's interesting because a lot of people are like, you're either a law firm or a pub in the UK.
Nice. So true. Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to thank you so, so much for being here with me today. And boy, I will have you back if you can think of more things that you're dropping with for me today. And maybe we'll remember the adjectives if I go back and take a listen. And I will post something about that on socials. But I think it's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Sure.
And I hope you keep thinking about where you can find that clarity and thinking about where you can let
Yeah.
go of some things that maybe you know how to do, but you know somebody else could do them better. And give
Oh,
you back that time to your travel and to your kids and your family and all the important things that come before running a business. But I know you'll get there. Just take a little less than 10 years.
yeah,
Would be
right.
my
I know.
advice of the day.
No, it's going to
But
be 10 years for me to like step into owning
yeah,
exactly
you can
everything that
do
I
it.
want.
You
But the
can do it. Just
delegation is
wait
going
till
to
that
happen.
change comes and like your change management. I love how I'm sewing this all in. When that change comes and things just get different and people go different directions and you'll feel the change and it'll get
Yeah.
easier. I
Right.
promise.
It's all part of the
So
journey.
delegate to elevate and keep getting done. Everybody listen to the podcast and share and like and post some comments and we'll have Stephanie back. If if you need her, want her to talk more and tell us some stories even. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye,
Thanks.
Stephanie.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Bonnie. I am so excited to finally share this with you. My next venture, Preferred Service Pros, has officially launched. What started with the incredible guests we've had right here on Delegate to Elevate has grown into a trusted directory where you can find professional service providers, coaches, consultants, and experts who are doing meaningful work. Our season 1 and season 2 guests here on D2E are already featured. So if someone you heard on the show caught your attention, you know where to find them. Visit preferredservicepros.com to explore the directory. And if you're a professional service provider who feels like you belong among the preferred, we invite you to apply. That's it for today's episode of Delegate to Elevate, Get Done. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And if this episode gave you a golden nugget or two, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your review may even be featured in a future D2E listener shout out. Head over to delegate to elevatepodcast.com. That's with the number 2 to grab Bonnie's free Delegate to Elevate growth roadmap. Explore past episodes and join us next time for more real conversations about getting done.